You can usually spot it in the first 30 seconds. A panel interview, a project kickoff, a strategic meeting, whatever the setting. There's a kind of person people instinctively defer to. It's not always about titles or even competence. It's something less tangible, a vibe, a tone, a physical presence that reads leader, or at least what we've been conditioned to believe a leader looks and sounds like. And that's the problem. We still default to what's familiar. The polished speaker, the confident posture, the person who's the loudest, the person who makes declarative statements with no hint of uncertainty. We interpret those cues as readiness, authority, capability, competence, and so we give them the mic, the lead role, or control of the room. That default has consequences because the people best suited to lead aren't always the ones who look the part. I've encountered the leadership default more times than I can count. It was not obvious to me early in my career, but has become glaringly obvious in recent years. I notice it in the subtle pause after I share an idea, the nod that doesn't quite reach the eyes, the polite but skeptical smile that says, "I hear you, but I don't buy that you're capable of that." It happens when I talk about my work in strategy and systems. It happens when I mention my background in leadership, music, writing, facilitation. I'm not new to that look, and I'm not surprised by it anymore. I understand why it happens. I don't come across as the obvious choice. I tend to ask more questions than I answer. I care more about clarity than charisma. I'm not quick to announce my accomplishments or dominate a room just to prove I belong in it. And so I get misread by people who are otherwise thoughtful, smart, and fair-minded. It's not malice. It's muscle memory. A quiet, unexamined assumption about what leadership is supposed to feel and look like. But that assumption filters who we listen to, who we promote, who we follow. And more often than not, it fails us. The truth is, we need a wider aperture of leadership. An aperture that's based on insight, trustworthiness, and the ability to navigate complexity, not just the ability to sound good in a boardroom. Visibility is not the same as readiness. Familiarity is not the same as fit. I've led in not-for-profits, tech, church, and even small roles in government. I've led in times of crisis and calm. In every space, I've seen how quickly we elevate the person who fits the mold, even if they lack the awareness or the emotional range or the self-control to lead well. And I've seen how often real leadership, the kind that is quiet, consistent, and hard-earned, goes unnoticed. This isn't just a personal frustration, it's a systemic issue. It shows up in hiring decisions, promotions, succession plans, consulting rosters, and executive coaching pipelines. It affects whose ideas are taken seriously and whose aren't. It shapes what kind of voices get amplified in rooms that make decisions. We need to name this pattern and disrupt it. There are potential leaders in every organization right now who aren't being seen. People who are doing the heavy lifting, managing complexity, building trust, making sure that projects are delivered on time, and carrying the weight of the team without title or spotlight. If we keep looking for the same kind of leader we've promoted in the past, we'll keep missing them and we'll keep missing out. It's time to re-examine what leadership actually looks like and why we keep confusing the loudest voice for the clearest one.